my draft that I've been sharing with you guys about how I learned how to ride a bike for the first time. And now that I know some of these transitional words and phrases, I'm going to go back and look for places in my writing where it makes sense, where I think my writer or my reader might be a little confused and where it makes sense to make some of these changes. So I was looking at my draft and I noticed that this section right here might be a little bit confusing to readers. So it says that there were few cars to worry about, making the road in front of my house a favorite place for neighborhood kids to ride bikes. So I think I might want to change it. I think that might be confusing. And so the way that I might revise that is I'm going to go ahead and say we lived at the end of a dead end street, so there were few cars to worry about. And so by using some words and phrases that show location, like my location is living at the dead end of the street, I help to clarify it for my readers a little bit better. I'm going to scroll down and I notice that in this paragraph here, I did a pretty good job of using transitional phrases. I noticed that I said things like moments later, on the next attempt, then one day. So I think I did a pretty good job using those and doing a good job of showing sequencing. And then I noticed that when I scroll down here, my story kind of changes a little bit. Like I changed to a different time and a different location. And so I might want to make that a little bit clearer for my readers. And so I might revise that instead of just saying then one day. I really want to make sure that my readers know that it's a different time and that I'm in a different location. So I might say, add to this, instead of saying then one day, I might say then one summer day at Franklin Park, Park. It just happened. And so now I've given my reader the context of the time, that it's summertime and some time has passed. And I've given my reader a little more about the location, that I'm at a park now instead of the street in front of my house. And then if I look at my last paragraph here, I noticed that the last two sentences sound a little bit choppy and a little bit unconnected. And so maybe I would write and add in here, let's see, I wobbled a bit, then one summer day, it just happened, I showed the time and location, I'll never forget, here, I'm going to fix this, I wobbled a bit, but it happened, I pedaled furiously, I wouldn't fall over, so I fell, but instead I landed, I knew I could do it, and so I noticed that I made some changes over here. All my embarrassment and fear vanished as I realized I could ride a bike. I had done it in my own way and in my own time. I learned an important lesson that day. I don't have to compare myself to anyone else. And here's where I want to make this change. And so maybe my comment might be, I might change this to compare this to anyone else, because things will happen for me when I am ready. So I'm going to go ahead and make that revision and take that part out over here. And so what we're going to ask you to do today is follow the same procedure as you're going through and revising your own draft. Take a look at some of those transitional words that we mentioned in class. Think about what makes sense for you in your writing and what makes sense in terms of capturing your own voice in the revisions. And then go back and reread your writing. Think about where you want to clarify things like the sequencing, the locations, and maybe some places where you need to use some of those connecting words to connect your idea so it's more clear for your reader. And then I'm going to ask you to go ahead and stop this video, and on the next slide you'll see a writing time chart that will give you some help in what you're supposed to do during your writing time today.